on today's chest and abs day, there'll be two new exercises that you're not familiar with. They're clap push-ups and banded push-ups. As bodybuilders, we spend a lot of time under tension and slowly working our muscles under load. But that doesn't mean we cannot expand our athletic capacity. If you ever need to perform an athletic and explosive movement like a burpee or something practical like lifting something heavy around the house, you need your muscles to be responsive. Clap push-ups are a great variation to ensure that your muscle mass is functional and doesn't just look good. For today's abdominal work, we're increasing the volume by including 4 sets to failure of bicycle kicks. I want to see how long you can hold out for. So now we are starting our day with chest. And we're going to start with a unique exercise called the clap push-up. What you're going to do is put yourself into a push-up position. Now, if you cannot do a full push-up, you can do the same thing on your knees. So, hands are going to be a little bit wider than shoulder width distance apart. You're going to support your weight on your hands and your feet with your back, upper body, lower body aligned. And then you're going to go down nice and slowly, but you're going to explode up in such a way that you can clap at the top of the movement. I'll demonstrate. Breathe out on the way up and breathe in on the way down. So you're going to go down nice and slowly, but push up hard. And if you can't do it like that, like I said, you can go onto your knees and practice the same thing. So I want you to go to absolute failure on that exercise. No need to count the reps, just make them count and explode out as hard as you can. When performing this movement, make sure that your posture and your upper body and lower body is aligned or parallel to the floor. The muscle group you're going to be working are the pecs throughout the entirety of this exercise in an explosive manner. The muscle tension will be applied to the pecs as you're coming down and as you're exploding up. When you're in the air, then obviously the muscle will disengage, but then it'll re-engage at the bottom. Okay, you committed to this, so you better follow through. Don't get taken off your goal. Don't be meandering or navigating a way out of it. You started with this commitment. Are you somebody that follows through or comes up with an excuse? The choice is yours. Now we're going to target the upper muscle fibers in our pecs, right underneath the clavicle here. So obviously we have upper muscle fibers, the mid fibers, and the lower fibers. So we're gonna target it right up top now. In order to do so, we need to perform a decline push-up. So your upper body is gonna be high, elevated on a chair, on a stair, on a couch, and your lower body is going to be on the floor. So to demonstrate, I'm going to put my feet on this chair here, hands on the floor, so your head should align between your hands when you're in your starting position. And then you're going to come down slowly and then back up. Slow and back up. Pause at the bottom if you want to make it a little bit harder, and then control that negative and don't allow your pelvis to collapse. Keep your body aligned. Breathe in and breathe out. When you're performing the decline push-up, your upper body is going to be towards the floor into a push-up position. Your back, your glutes, and your hamstrings should all be one line where you're almost parallel to the floor except for your legs being elevated. You're going to be targeting your upper pecs throughout the entirety of this movement, but you're also going to target your mid and lower fibers as well. To keep the constant tension throughout the entirety of this exercise, I want you to lock out at the top and squeeze your pecs with your shoulders retracted back. And you're going to go slowly down towards the bottom, and just as you're about an inch from the floor, I want you to go back up. Completing those last sets as hard as you possibly could is where all the change happens. If you do what you've always done, you're going to get what you've always got. So make sure that you push yourself harder this week on those last sets than you did last week. Now we're going to target the mid fibers of our pecs by performing the flat dumbbell press. You can do this on the floor or you can do this on a bench, whatever you have available to you. You do it on the floor, you can put some cushions there if you like for an extra stretch and a further range of motion. I'm going to do it on the bench here for demonstrational purposes. You're going to need a couple of dumbbells either way. So I'm going to come down, pop the dumbbells overhead, and then make sure my palms are facing down my body. I will always keep around a head distance apart from these dumbbells. Don't bring them together. That will take the tension away from your pecs. You need the constant tension applied to your chest muscles. You gotta come down, get a good stretch. Your forearms should always be vertical, not out, not in, vertical throughout the entire motion. Stick your chest out, retract your shoulder blades, come up, and just before your arms lock out, you come back down for a good stretch. Breathing in on the way down, breathing out on the way up, and visualize the muscle fibers in your chest doing all the work. The primary mover throughout this movement is going to be the mid fibers of your pec muscles. To keep constant tension applied to your pecs, sticking your chest out, shoulders retracted back, and as you go up, I do not want you to lock out your arms. I want you to have them just slightly bent before coming back down so we can constantly apply tension onto the pecs. Mind-muscle connection is very, very important throughout these workouts. I want you to picture the muscle moving. Buy yourself an anatomy chart. Look at the attachments and the origins of every single one of these muscle groups so you have a better mind-muscle connection and you know how a muscle should feel when you're moving it. Often people ask me how much weight that they should be utilizing when they're performing an exercise. Well, simple. If I give you a rep range of, say, 15 to 20, but you end up performing 25 to 30, then the weight is too light for you. So you'd need to go heavier. And consequently, if you only were able to perform, say, 5 or 10 repetitions, then the weight is too heavy and you should go a little bit lighter on your next set. Now you need to push yourself to failure on every single working set. So quite often people will say, okay, I'm gonna reach failure on my third and final set. No, you need to reach failure on your first set, your second set, your third set, every single working set. The only set that you do not reach failure are your warm-up repetitions and your warm-up sets. Now we're gonna finish off this chest workout with the standing banded cable crossovers. We're gonna use the resistance band here. When you're performing this movement, make sure your elbows are up high. The common mistake I always see people do when performing this exercise is that they let those elbows drop down and don't allow those wrists to come down. Elbows gotta lead this movement, okay? Stick your chest out, keep your shoulders retracted and upper body straight. So your resistance band needs to be supported overhead. You're gonna take a grip overhand, slightly wider than shoulder distance apart. You're gonna step forward so you've got plenty of resistance. You're gonna come down and then back up with elbows up high, chest out, looking straight ahead. Squeeze and stretch. Squeeze those lower muscle fibers and then stretch out. When performing the standing banded crossovers with the cable overhead, I want you to hold the resistance band at a wide grip with your palms facing down. Your chest should be stuck out, your shoulders should be retracted, and your neck up high. I want you to bend over just ever so slightly as you come down and squeeze your pecs. To keep the constant tension placed upon your pecs, I want you to contract at the bottom for a second and get a good stretch at the top. It's going to be the lower fibers of the pecs that you are going to be targeting as your primary mover throughout this movement. Okay, we've got some great momentum going on now. Remember why you started this. Who are you trying to prove wrong? Is it yourself? Is it other people that doubt you? You can put their doubts to the curb now as you continue to push yourself towards that end goal and walk out a success. For the remainder of these exercises, you're not going to count the reps today. You're just going to make them count and go to absolute failure, meaning you cannot do one more repetition even if you wanted to. So you need to psych yourself up for every single one of these sets. To begin with, I want you to psych yourself up for the banded push-up. So we're going to use a resistance band to make it that much more difficult and create more stress on your pecs to allow them to take shape and grow. So with your resistance band, I want you to loop it through your thumbs like this, and then put it underneath your shoulder blades, okay? And now you're gonna put yourself into a normal push-up position. But this extra resistance is gonna make it harder to push away from the floor, okay? And as you're going down towards the floor on the negative contraction, it's gonna be a little bit harder. So make sure that you control yourself on the negative so you don't just flatten yourself in the floor face down. So we're gonna go down to the floor. I'm gonna put myself into that push-up position, just like normal, onto your feet and onto your hands. You're gonna come down slowly and then back up. Breathe in on the way down and breathe out on the way back up with your body aligned. Same as before, if you cannot do many repetitions to failure, you can continue to failure on your knees. When performing the banded push-up, make sure that your upper body and lower body is aligned with the floor. The muscle group that you're going to be working are your pecs, specifically the mid-fibers of your pec muscles. When you go up to the top, pause for a second to get full contraction out of your pecs and then a full stretch at the bottom, making sure that your chest stops just before you hit the floor to keep tension applied to your pecs. So pause at the top and then stop just before your chest hits the floor to keep constant muscle tension applied to your pecs. When you're performing the concentric part of the movement or the positive part, or when you're actually pushing, that's when you breathe out. Remember, if you have to scream to push that exercise because it's so hard, you have to exhale. You didn't come this far just to come this far. Don't give up now. Maybe you've given up in the past, but not this time. This is your time to shine. So let's have it. Now we're moving on to abs, starting off with our lower abs for lying leg raises. So remember, whenever we are trying to target our lower abs, we bring our hips towards our upper body. So I want you to lie down. I want you to have your hands either side or near your temples. I'm going to put my hands down here for demonstrational purposes. I'm going to bring my ankles over my head and then take my feet back down, and I'll stop about an inch away from the floor and then back up. Controlling the negative, breathing out before I come up. To expel all the air out of my diaphragm will make it easier for me to contract my arms. Come up and control the negative. You're going to target your upper abs, your lower abs, and your obliques. Your primary mover is going to be your lower abs in this exercise. To keep constant tension applied throughout the entirety of this movement, I want you to make sure that you lift your feet up and never allow them to touch the floor. You'll bring your feet up over your head, and then you'll allow your feet to slowly lower down, and just an inch or two before it touches the floor, with your knees slightly bent, I want you to return to the starting position. That will keep constant tension applied to these muscle groups. Okay, here we are. This is where people either fall off or they move forward and they come up in a winner's circle. Do you want to end up on the podium or do you want to be just another number? Be a success within yourself by pushing yourself every single day, marking off every single meal and every single workout to absolute failure in order to achieve your goals. We've got another new exercise for you today, and that's called the bicycle kick. Now, this movement is going to target your obliques as you twist, your upper abs, and your lower abs as well. So as you twist, you'll target your obliques on the side here, and your upper abs, and as you bring your knee up towards your elbow, you'll target your lower abs as well. So it's a great overall developer for every area of your abs. But it's tough, it's difficult. So remember, you have to push through that pain. Every time it starts to burn, think to yourself, can I do one more? Can I do two more? Can I do four more? Keep reminding yourself you can always do better, because the brain doesn't like pain, the body doesn't like pain, so it'll always protest against it. You've got to fight through that. So, I want you to lie down. You're gonna have your hands taking the weight to your head. Don't cup your fingers behind your head. I just want you to take the weight. And then you're going to bring an opposing knee towards your opposing elbow, and then you're gonna alternate one side over the next. So, both your upper body and lower body has to be off the floor. As you extend your opposing elbow towards your opposing knee and come towards each other, the opposing side goes further away. So you'll extend one leg and you'll bend the other. You'll twist around with one elbow to try to touch the opposing knee and then back around. Try to keep your upper body up high the entire time. Don't allow it to fall back down. You breathe out, and then as you twist, you breathe out again. Now your extended leg should be rather close to the floor, but it should never collapse and fall on the floor. So when performing this exercise, allow your posture to be slightly relaxed around your head and your traps. I want you to take the weight of your head, but I don't want you to pull your head up. As you come up, you're gonna breathe out to squeeze your obliques and your abs. And then you're gonna do the opposing side. So you must expel all your air in order to properly contract your abs and your obliques. keep muscle tension applied by never allowing your head to touch the floor and to disengage your abs or your obliques. Keep your head up, squeeze across, breathe out to keep constant muscle tension to this area. Yeah, there will be times that you're gonna feel tired. Your legs are gonna be sore. You won't wanna do the cardio on the weekends. But this is your goal to achieve. So make sure that you put everything into the details of this goal in order to make it your big picture. Okay, you did really well. You held out. But tomorrow, we're gonna push it by holding out a little bit longer with a large muscle group, which is our back.